Hello everyone. Before the start of the video, I would like to request you all to subscribe. That's it. Thank you and enjoy. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The Beginning After the End. Year 2138 AD. 15 minutes before the shutdown of Yggdrasil. The DML-RPG Yggdrasil was going to be closed 10 years after its release. The game, filled with millions of players for years, was empty in its final days. In the great tomb of Nazarick. In a larger conference room that consisted of a large table that looked to be made out of obsidian. The surface of the table was smooth and had no dirt or scratch. The table was so clean that one could see his or her reflection on it. 42 chairs are arranged in a circular shape around the table. Once every chair in the room was occupied by someone, but now only one chair was occupied. The only person in the room was a young man who looked to be in his early 20s. The young man had snow-white hair and deep and beautiful golden eyes with a slit instead of a pupil. The young man looked like he was waiting for someone. Just then a notification grabbed his attention, and he smiled. He was in a game, so his character didn't smile, but instead an emoji that represented his mood appeared. Player Momonga has logged in. Just then a large skeleton appeared in one of the chairs. The skeleton had a red glow that represented its eyes. It wore a large, dark blue, elegant robe. The skeleton had many rings on its bony fingers. "Good to see you, Bone Daddy," the young man said to the newly arrived member of his guild. "That nickname again," the skeleton replied. "You didn't change at all, Victor," the skeleton said to the newly named Victor. "So what brings you here to this place after 1.5 years?" Victor questioned. 1.5 years? Has it been that long? The skeleton asked. "Well, after you and Buku Chigama had your first child, you stopped logging in." "Well, I am a father now. I couldn't just play games, you know. Unlike some rich bastard, some people have to work." "Aha," Victor laughed. It was a friendly jab. "I am not rich, you know, Skeletor. I am filthy rich." Yes, everyone in the guild knows. You made sure we all knew." "Did you participate in the last event?" Momonga asked. "The Save the World Tree one?" Victor asked. "Yes," Momonga replied. "Yes. I was the boss that killed all those players after all." Yeah, whatever you say." Changing the subject, Momonga said, "Hard to believe that you kept the guild alive in the first place all this time by yourself." "Well, what can I say? I am awesome," Victor replied. "After all, this is the place we all build together. Couldn't let it fall off its glorious spot of number 1, Victor replied. A silence fell over the room. Both Victor and Momonga fell into melancholy over the good times they had together in this game with their friends. "Well, would you look at the time? I've got to go. I can't be late for work tomorrow." "Bye," Momonga said. Before Victor could reply, Momonga logged off. Player Momonga has logged off. Sighing to himself, Victor said to himself, "Goodbye, my friend. Hope you like my gift." Victor was a person who transmigrated into this world 1 year before the release of Yggdrasil. He was reborn in the body of a rich kid whose parents died in an accident. After their death, he inherited their massive wealth and got rich. He found out that he was in the original world of Overlord before the transmigration. After finding out where he was, he quickly bought the shares of Yggdrasil. He got himself a custom-made dragon avatar with no level cap, higher stats, infinite storage, and many other perks. Some people might say he cheated. To answer that, he will say yes, he did, he had money, and this game was P12 anyway, so no problem. He joined Nine's own goal as a founding member. became the guild leader of Eins Gaun, as he was the strongest player among them. He also had made the most contributions to the guild, and he was the most active player among all 42 of them, so when the guild leader was being chosen, when he said he would like to be the leader, no one disagreed. But as the game's popularity decreased and players began to leave, he still continued to grind like Karzi. Due to the decreasing popularity, most investors began selling their shares, and he bought all the shares, becoming the sole owner of the game. After that, in his command, there was a last event to protect the world tree. Most thought it was one last effort to revive the game, but it was just his plan to farm levels and make his character the strongest. He asked for his character to be customized in such a way that he could use every race's ability or skill without any drawback with no CD. In addition to that, he got every job class and something that the devs made out of fun, and some that he requested. Victor also asked the devs for a final form that was the pinnacle of power and invincibility. Such a thing couldn't be done if there were other shareholders, but now he owned everything of the game, and the devs were his employees. They will do as the big boss says. And for the event, he asked for the ability to absorb a level for every person he killed. This ability will help him grind levels like crazy in the last event that millions will participate in. You may ask why millions will join in the event if it's a dead game. Well, simply, the prize money for the people who dealt the most damage was 15 million, for second place it was 10 million, and for third place it was 5 million. In addition to that, there was a prize for taking part and staying to the end of the event. The fast level grind for him became the biggest event in gaming history. He paid every dev and employee 1 million each for supporting him to the very end like a good boss. He said that those who will help him do some more adjustments will get 1 million more. Needless to say, everybody helped him for the kindness he showed them, and it had nothing to do with money. And now he was ready to go to the new world. Current time. Victor finished remembering all the major events that led to the current point. Looking at the time, he thought, only 2 minutes left. Looking at the guild weapon that they had made, he took it and looked at it. The staff looked the same as in the anime, with the only change being the buff and the ability of the staff that he made the devs change to make it more powerful. Taking the staff with him, Victor got out of the meeting room, heading to the throne room. Outside the door, Cebus and the Pleiades were waiting. Ordering them to follow him, he took them to the throne room and sat on the large throne. After sitting on the throne, he commanded everyone to bow and waited for midnight for the game to close. Looking at the time, there were only 30 seconds left. He remembered all the good times he had in this game and in this world as a whole. Remembering his friends, he thanked them all in his mind. He had made sure that after he gets to the new world, all this remaining wealth will be donated to charity and his friends. 10 more seconds till the server shut down. Closing his eyes, he started to count the remaining time in his head. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. When the time hit midnight, his vision went dark. Ch2, Chapter 2, New World. Push harder, honey, a man said to a woman. The man was bald and looked to be middle-aged. He had a mustache and a short beard. The room they were currently in was in chaos, with maids running around frantically. The painful scream of a woman was heard throughout the room. The woman had long black hair, and her eyes were closed. The man and woman were Mr. and Miss Kaganu, who currently were having their 3 child. I can see the head, one of the maids said. The woman let out one last pained yell and went limp. It's a boy, one of the maids exclaimed in joy. The bald man asked the maid for the baby, but the maid ignored him. Let me hold him, the woman said. Ignoring the bald man like he was not the head of the house, the maid obediently gave the baby to the woman. He is so cute, the woman exclaimed. We've got to tell the young master and mistress, the maid said, and went outside the room. Outside the room, 2 kids who looked to be about 2 years old were waiting. The older one was a young girl who had silky white skin, ruby red eyes, and jet black hair. Currently the girl had panic all over her face. Well, Mom, be okay? She asked the young boy behind her. She will be fine, don't worry, the boy said with a gentle smile. The boy had snow-white hair, milky white skin, and deep yet beautiful golden eyes. He was young, and he looked flawless. Everyone who looked at him could tell he would be a heartbreaker in the future. If someone were to look at them and ask what their relation was, they would say, friends. But the fact was they were siblings, twins at that. The girl's name was Claire.Now, and the boy's name was Chris.Now. Yes, the boy was our MC. After the shutdown of the Yggdrasil, he found himself in the world of the eminence in shadow as Claire's younger twin and now the older brother of Sid.Now, who was the MC of this world. Did he reincarnate successfully? Chris thought to himself. Yes, a voice in his head replied. Chris was not schizophrenic. The voice in his head was real and a skill he personally coded in Yggdrasil. The skill was inspired by the skill Great Sage from the anime That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. He coded this skill in such a way that it was the embodiment of omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence. He designed this skill to avoid knowing everything and being everywhere, which will ruin the fun of his adventure. Currently, he and Claire were waiting for their mother to give birth. As the maids came out of the room, they respectfully bowed to Claire and Chris and told them, "Congratulations, young mistress and young master, it's a baby boy." After hearing that, Claire rushed into the room in a hurry. Chris followed her in after thanking the maids. "What a respectful young man," one of the maids said. "Young Master Chris is so young, yet so mannered. If he was only 15 years older, I would not mind having him as a husband," the maid continued. "He is a noble. There is no way he would agree to marry you even if he was old enough," the other maid said. "A woman can dream, right?" the first maid said. Ignoring the maid's conversation about marrying him, Victor, now named Chris, got to his mother, who was holding his little brother. Claire looked really happy to have another little brother. As for me, knowing that this is a grown-ass teen made no difference to me. "What is his name?" Claire asked her mother. "I was thinking of naming him Sid." "Sid.Now," Claire muttered to herself. Looking at Sid, Chris saw him looking at all of them with a look no newborn has. In that moment, one of the maids pointed out the fact that Sid was not crying. As everyone's gaze fell on him, Sid started to cry. Everyone took a breath of relief. Looking at Sid, Victor thought of the pain he will have to suffer as a baby. Thinking about the fact that the mighty Lord Shadow peeing and pooping in his pants made Victor laugh. Thankfully, he didn't have to suffer through that. All thanks to Friday, his trusted voice that lived in his head. "Friday, had suppressed his previous memories to make him avoid the pain of being a baby, and only unlocked them a month ago when I could properly control my body. For that he was really thankful, as shitting in his pants would be embarrassing. Now that the protagonist has been born, it would be fun to see how his presence will change things. And in the process, watch one of his favorite anime live. Chapter 3. Victor is his real name, and Chris is his new name. I will refer to him as Victor, but people who don't know that will call him Chris. Time skip 10 years. It's been 10 years since Victor got his memories. He and Claire were 12 years old, while Sid was 10 years old. Victor started his training 11 years ago when he got his own room and could move freely. By training, he meant doing mass genocide on the local bandit population. The full moon hung high in the sky, illuminating the dark world in the ray it stole from the sun. In the peaceful night, the sound of metal colliding and wails of pain could be heard. In an abandoned town, the panic cries of people could be heard. "Damn it, what the hell is that thing?" one of the bandit that looked like the leader yelled out. The day had been a normal day for them till now. After robbing and killing a merchant, they had decided to stay at this abandoned town for rest and to celebrate a big catch. Everything was going fine, but out of nowhere this monster appeared and started killing his men. "Who are you?" the bandit leader questioned. Killing one more bandit with a throwing knife, Victor swiftly and skillfully did an unnecessary backflip to dodge the sword strike aiming to cut him in half. Yes, he was the monster they were talking about. He was just clearing the area around his home, and swears it has nothing to do with the money the bandits had. Sure, his house was kilometers away from here, but he was just making sure they don't harm his family. Why are you all still thinking he is doing this for money? While in the air, Victor summoned a sword and cut down the bandit that tried to strike him from behind. With the sound of steel cutting through flesh and bones, the bandit was sliced in two from his head. Turning around to the bandits that looked at him in fear, Victor smiled at them. It was a friendly smile, but for the bandits, it was the smile of the devil. How could this thing smile like that after killing their companions in cold blood? The look of fear in their faces made Victor feel good. His twisted side has been long since awakened, and he has developed a bit of a god complex. As he was about to continue with his work, one of the bandits yelled out, "Who are you?" He went silent, and after some time said, "I am Vengeance. I am the Dark Knight. I am Batman." With that, he charged into the fleeing bandit crowd, and with speed they couldn't even react to, mercilessly killing them all. Then suddenly, the bandit that asked him who he was appeared behind him and swung his sword, intending to cut him in half. "Die, demon!" he yelled, smirking. "Using these guys as a distraction to sneak up behind me. How pathetic," Victor said. As the bandit's sword got inches away from him, it stopped. "What?" exclaimed the bandit in surprise. "I told you, no matter what you do, you can't defeat me," Victor said arrogantly. The bandit used all of his power to make the sword advance. The ground under him cracked under the pressure, but the sword didn't budge from its place in the air. Victor watched in amusement as the bandit struggled. Taking out a bag of chips from his inventory, he sat down in a throne that appeared out of nowhere and began to eat it, ignoring the fact that a bandit was trying to kill him. The bandit, seeing the man ignoring him and eating something that he had never seen before, thought, "I can't seem to get near him. Is it magic? But I have never heard of such magic. The bandit made some distance between them. On guard, he asked, "What is that barrier around you?" Victor didn't reply and instead said, "Let's play a game," he said. "A game?" the bandit said. "You appear out of nowhere, kill all my men, and now you ask for games? I am going to kill you," the bandit roared angrily. "Ha ha ha ha," Victor burst out laughing. "I don't think you understand. I was not asking you. It was a statement that you will be playing whether you want to or not. Doesn't matter. I will not move from the chair until I finish this bag of chips. Do everything you can to try and kill me. Running is an option if you are scared, Theo." "You, the bandit," he muttered under his breath. Weighing his options, he thought for a moment and said, "I will kill you one day, just you wait." After saying that, he Nigerian-dioed out of there. "Not very convincing when you are running away," Victor said to the fleeting form of the bandit. After some time, he finished his chips and got up from the throne. The throne disappeared as soon as he stood up from it. "No, then where are you?" Victor muttered to himself. Using a simple search spell, he located the running form of the bandit. Casting a lightning spell, he muttered lightning strike under his breath. Bandit, who was around 1.5 kilometers away, suddenly felt his hair stand on end. Before he could do anything, a sudden lightning strike hit him from the clear night sky. With the smell of flesh burning, his body fell with a thud. Watching his spell take effect, Victor smiled. "Another flawless victory," he exclaimed. Checking for the spoils of this fight, he found a chest filled with gold coins. "Nicey," Victor said. As Victor already said, he didn't kill all these people for money, but it would be a shame if he just left it here. Smiling to himself, he said, "Dirty cash, come to Papa." A sudden noise from the carriage nearby got his attention. Going inside the carriage, his eyes widened. "This is?" Find out what happens in the next episode of DBZ. "Oh, who am I kidding you? Probably know who it is." Chapter 4. Alpha. Inside the carriage. As Victor entered the carriage, he saw the grotesque form of a monster. The creature was a lump of flesh with an overflowing amount of magic with one lone eye on its body. After seeing Victor, the creature went frantic and began to thrash around. Victor knew exactly who this monstrous creature was. Alpha, the first member of Shadow Garden, and you could say the real reason Shadow Garden grew so large in the first place. The anime did show this form of Alpha for a few seconds in episode 2, but looking at it in real life, it looked even more hideous and disgusting. "What should I do?" Victor questioned himself. Obviously he could help her, but with that he might prevent the formation of Shadow Garden. But he didn't feel like just leaving her. Alpha was one of his favorites in the anime, and one of his favorite waifus of all time, so he didn't just want to leave her. While he was in his thoughts Friday, this helpful assistant told him that Sid was coming to this location at high speed. Well, that explained why Sid was not here. He came to this place where Sid and Alpha met for the first time, before Sid could unknowingly. Using his skill, mind acceleration, to buy some time and think of what he should do, he came to a decision real quick. "I will do that," he exclaimed. Going near the cage, he touched the cage bars, and they disappeared. Approaching the monsters from what is soon to be Alpha, he extended his hand. This was not his first time dealing with the demon's curse. His older sister Claire also had this curse, which he took care of easily before it could even show proper physical signs. Casting one of the many spells he knew for this kind of curse, he exclaimed, "Holy light!" As soon as he cast the spell, a sudden golden light enveloped the monster's form of Alpha. After the light faded, the blob of flesh disappeared, and in its place a young girl appeared. The girl had long golden blonde hair, blue eyes, pointed ears, unblemished skin, and a developing figure. Anyone who looked at her could tell she was going to be a beauty. But currently, the beauty was naked. Looking at Alpha's naked and unconscious form, Victor thought, "Damn, am I going to get arrested?" Author's note: nobody asks how he could see her eyes when she was unconscious, okay? Slowly, Alpha opened her beautiful eyes. Alpha's POV. "Where am I?" I muttered to myself. "Are you awake, child?" a voice questioned me. Looking at the figure in front of me, I was surprised. I couldn't make out anything about the figure except his deep golden eyes that looked like they could see every part of her. "Anne, she isn't wrong, Theo, she is naked so they could." From the voice, she at least confirmed it was male. Every time she tried to make out his facial features, it was like a dark mist was there, preventing her from seeing anything except his eyes. "Are you all right?" the figure questioned again. "Yes," she replied. "What happened?" she asked. "Nothing much. I just removed that pathetic thing of a curse placed on you," the voice replied. Only then did she realize that she was not that monstrous blob. A single drop of tear fell from her eyes and hit the ground, and another one followed, then another. Just like that, she started to cry. "It seems he is here," the figure muttered under his breath. "Well, I shall take my leave then, child," the figure said to her. As the figure was leaving, she questioned him, "Who are you?" "Me, I am just an observer for now," the figure replied, adding the last part a bit later. Page 4. Not happy with the answer she got, she questioned again. "I meant to ask, what is your name?" "Anata no namae wa." "My name?" the figure questioned. "Yes, I want to know the name of my savior," she said. "You may call me Victor," the figure replied. "Victor the Observer," she muttered, after which she felt her head spinning. "Don't resist it," the figure said. She could feel her vision blurring, and her body starting to go numb. The last thing she saw was the pair of golden eyes looking at her like a god. Just before she completely lost consciousness, she heard the figure say, "He will explain everything to you." After that, she fell unconscious. After that, Sid found her, and everything went like the anime. He explained the random story that he made up on the spot and spoiled the whole plot of the anime to Alpha. Then Alpha decided to help him destroy the cult of Diablos. Meanwhile, with MC... Damn it! That was so embarrassing. How does Sid do it with so much aura? And how did I not think of a cool-ass nickname before confronting her? When Alpha asked for his name, he could only give his own name, as the other nicknames that came to him at that time were the Diddler and Lube King, and he couldn't say that. I should have just said Eins Uhlgaun. That night, people heard the cries of a crazy person coming from the forest. And some of you ask why didn't take Alpha for him if she one was his favorite, and I thought of doing that, but that will make it so that Shadow Garden will not be as large as the anime or not even be created, as Alpha was the main brain for Shadow Garden. I also fixed the time mistake in CH3. I have thought of the general plot and some events in the future. I am no William Shakespeare or cuttlefish that loves diving, so don't expect too much. As for Nazarick, it will be introduced in the future chapter. Peace out, CH5. Time skip 3 years. Yeah! With an unnecessary yell, Sid charged towards Claire. Clang! With a metallic clang, Sid's sword collided with Claire's. Your lunge is weak, Claire exclaimed, throwing Sid meters away. As Sid was recovering from the throw, Claire charged towards him. As her sword was near Sid's neck, Sid blocked at the last second, saving his neck from being cut, but the force of the block sent him flying to the river on the side. Sid slid on the water, and after some time fell into the water. Geez, you're too strong, Sid exclaimed. That boy never makes any progress, Claire said as she touched her neck. Miss Claire, your mother is calling. The guests are arriving for your farewell party, a maid said. Sid, I won't be able to practice with you for a while, but make sure to continue training on your own, Claire said. Yes, ma'am. Bring a towel and a change of clothes for the boy, Claire ordered the maid. Someone give this guy an Oscar, Victor thought to himself. It's been 3 years since the Alpha incident, and I am happy to say that I am no longer committing mass murder on the local bandit population for combat experience. What do you mean, is because there is no longer a bandit population? It is because I have achieved inner peace. He also found the other remaining 6 shades and helped them. Well, anyway, it is that part of Ep 2 where Sid rambles about how novels go to an academy when they turn 15. We skip that. All you need to know is Claire is going to the Midgar Academy for Dark Knights in the Royal Academy. And she got kidnapped. And yes, only Claire is going to the academy, as the Kaganu are minor nobility, and they can't afford both of them, so they choose Claire to go to the academy as she was the oldest and showed the most potential. I didn't intervene this part of the series as I had something else to do. Victor talked to himself as he was schizophrenic. In a dungeon far from the Kaganu resident, you know, I had a daughter. I would prefer not to have to resort to violence, Claire Kaganu, the boss of the kidnappers, said. And then he tried to kick her, which Claire dodged. You can still dodge that while locked up in magic sealing chains? The man said. I was taught that it's not about how much magic you have, but how you use it, she replied. You have a good father. That Baldy? No, I was taught by my brothers, Claire said. Your brothers? The man asks questioningly. When we fight, I beat that boy every time, but Chris, I never managed to beat him. It always ends in a draw no matter how hard I try, but he always seems relaxed. But I am always learning from my brother's swords. Pause. I've heard about your brother. When you showed signs of possession, he was the one who healed you, right? What was his name again? Oh yes, Chris. I will have to send some men to check if he is that capable, the man said. After hearing that, rage filled Claire as she broke one of the chains binding her and swung it at the white-haired man, which he barely dodged. If anything happens to him, you will have to answer to me, she yelled, as she forced her other hand out of the chain. You mutilated your own hands? The man yelled in shock. I will kill you. I will kill your beloved family, your friends, everyone you. Before she could finish the sentence, a punch landed square on her face. Claire flew back and landed on the ground, bleeding from her nose, and was unconscious. Cheeky little brat. No matter. We will know if she's compatible once we have analyzed her blood, he said. Viscount Grease. Another man came running to the cell where the now identified Grease and Claire were having their friendly chat. What do you want? Grease yelled, annoyed. Intruders. After that, everything went according to the anime. With MC in a random forest. This place should be far enough, Victor said to himself. Friday. How far is the nearest human civilization from here? He questions his trusted ChatGPT. Around 15 kilometers away, she replied. Perfect, he exclaimed. Okay, Friday, summon it here. As he said that, a large tomb-like structure appeared out of thin air. Chapter 6, Nazarick 1. Chapter 6, Nazarick 1. In front of Victor stood the guild base of X Overlord, the great tomb of Nazarick, in all its glory. The great tomb of Nazarick was one of the strongest guild in all of Yggdrasil. In the original work, X Overlord was the 9th strongest guild in the whole of Yggdrasil, but after the other members of the guild slowly lost interest in the game and got busy with their lives, the guild lost its 9th strongest position. Suzuki Satoru, or Momonga, tried his best to keep the position of the guild, but there was so much he could do alone, and X Overlord, the 9th strongest, became the 29th strongest. But here, after Victor joined, they had the power of money and admins on their side, making them the strongest guild. Even after everyone left and he was the only one who was daily active, the guild never lost its position as the strongest. Even if any guild tried to surpass X Overlord, Victor had his trusted ally, money, on his side. When money was not enough, he would just order some broken ability, skill, item, or NPC from the devs. He didn't believe in fair play after all. And his future also depended on getting strong in the game, so no way he was going to be honorable. Victor looked around and muttered to himself, looks like the structure outside of Nazarick also got teleported, not that I am going to complain. In the original, only the tomb had been isekai'd to the new world. But Friday, his trusted companion, had teleported the walls and the outpost with the tomb. Looking around at his handiwork, he was honestly impressed. The tomb was protected by 2 layers of walls. The first layer had 4 watchtowers on every corner of the wall that could automatically cast spells when they determined that the upcoming person or group of living beings was a threat unless it was deactivated. The watchtowers could cast spells up to the 3rd tier depending on how strong the enemies were, but for more than 4 people, it would cast only 3rd tier spells. Its only weakness was that it could only cast spells outside of the wall, it could not shot near or inside the walls. It had magically enchanted wall that could tank up to tier 6 spells. A heavy metallic iron gate was the only way to get in unless you could jump over a 13-meter wall, of course. Even if someone got in, they would have to get through low-level undead like skeletons and zombies. The second layer wall was the main defense to keep intruders out. Unlike the first layers of walls, this layer had 6 automatic towers, of which 4 on every corner could and will only shoot up to 4th tier spells. The other 2 could shoot 5th tier spells. The second layer was protected by higher level undead of level 25-40. Unlike the first wall, this one had an open gate, as if challenging anyone to try their luck to get in. Inside this layer was the great tomb of Nazarick. Victor was inside this layer, looking pleased with his creation. In Yggdrasil, any high-level player could easily get past this defense. And Victor intended this. What is the fun if the invaders can't even get inside the main party hall, he thought. To be continued. Thanks for watching.